If you really dig into all the global security reports from just the last few days and you strip away all the noise, one single powerful trend just jumps right out at you: acceleration. It's happening pretty much everywhere you look. We're seeing this incredible acceleration in military technology and in these new strategic alliances that are forming at lightning speed. And here's the really wild part. All of this is happening while high-level diplomacy, the one thing that's supposed to hit the brakes on this stuff, it seems like it's just completely stalled out. And you can see this gap, this massive disconnect, nowhere clearer than in Europe right now. Sure, the diplomatic channels between the United States and Russia are technically still open, but the conversations, they're producing absolutely nothing. I mean, just look at the difference here. On one side, you've got American envoys leaving Moscow, and President Trump is calling the talks reasonably good. But on the other side, Russian officials use that classic diplomatic word, constructive. But then they immediately add that, well, zero compromise was reached. It's like they weren't even in the same room. They're describing two completely different realities. And then, just as the envoy's plane is taking off, Vladimir Putin himself drops this bombshell. Come on, that's not the kind of thing you say if you're looking for a deal. This is an aggressive warning to all of Europe. He's not trying to find common ground. He's basically resetting the whole conversation with a direct threat. So while the diplomats are talking past each other, NATO is taking action. Because they're taking Putin at his word, the alliance is making some pretty big military moves to beef up its eastern flank in response to all this escalating tension. Okay, so take a look at this major deployment. The Netherlands is sending a pretty serious military package to Rzeszów in Poland. And you have to understand, that location is so critical. It's the main logistics hub for all Allied support that's flowing into Ukraine. That makes it a huge potential target. And the specific gear they're sending? Well, that tells you exactly what NATO is most worried about. So, why these specific systems? Well, together they create what we call a layered air defense. Think of it like a set of shields, each one designed for a different kind of threat. The Patriot system handles the top layer. It's designed to stop really fast-moving stuff like ballistic or even hypersonic missiles. Then you've got the NASAMS for the middle layer, things like cruise missiles and jets. But the real giveaway here is the addition of heavy counter-drone systems. That shows that NATO is getting ready for a nightmare scenario where they could face a sophisticated missile strike and a swarm of cheap drones all at the same time. And this is why that kind of high alert status is so necessary. You see, it doesn't even have to be a real attack. Russia recently flew a MiG-31K, that's the jet that carries their Kinzhal hypersonic missile, right up near the border. Just the presence of that single plane was enough to force NATO air defenses to go on high alert. It's all about psychological pressure, a constant reminder to the alliance of just how fast they could strike. But this acceleration in tech, well, it's starting to take some really disturbing turns. We're now seeing the new face of hybrid warfare, where pretty low-cost technology is being modified for some incredibly high stakes and, frankly, scary consequences. Okay, just walk through this with me for a second, because it is chilling. The analysis suggests that Russia could take an old Soviet-era missile, something that's hard to trace, and strap it onto a cheap drone. Then they could use that to shoot down a civilian airliner and immediately turn around and blame Ukraine. Because the tech is old and deniable, it would just create absolute chaos while giving them the ability to say, hey, wasn't us. All right, so let's shift from the air to the sea, because that same idea of ambiguity and deniability, it's happening there too. Russia is using this massive shadow fleet of old, badly insured tankers to get around sanctions. And the money involved here is just staggering. A single one of these tankers can be carrying cargo worth $70 million. So you can bet that this fleet has become a huge target for Ukraine. But their response is actually really smart. It's surgical. They're using these Sea Baby naval drones. And the goal isn't to sink the tankers, but to disable them. Why? Because sinking one could cause a massive environmental disaster and might pull other countries into the fight. But just disabling one, that's a purely economic hit, designed to cause the most financial pain possible without starting a bigger war. Okay, so let's pivot, because this isn't just a Europe story. That same breakneck acceleration is happening over in the Indo-Pacific, and it's almost entirely driven by growing concerns over China. So what we're really seeing is nations picking sides, and fast. For the first time ever, Japan is talking about selling an advanced missile system to the Philippines. I mean, that's a massive shift for Japan. At the same time, China is getting even closer with Pakistan, militarily, while the US is arming its key ally, Australia, with its newest long-range missiles. So why does a missile sale like this matter so much? It all boils down to one simple but absolutely crucial word: range. The Indo-Pacific is just a massive area, and China has built this formidable defensive bubble around itself. This new missile lets Allied pilots hit targets from much, much farther away, so they don't have to fly right into the hornet's nest. It's a direct technological answer to China's military strategy. Okay, so all of this, the tech, the tensions, the alliances, it all leads to one massive overarching question. When things are moving this fast, how does anyone get held accountable? This isn't the classic fog of war that happens in the chaos of battle. No, this is a new kind of fog, and it's one that's been created on purpose. And if you want a perfect example of this, just listen to this quote. After a controversial US airstrike, the defense secretary basically tried to distance himself from the outcome. When he says he didn't stick around for the digital exploitation, what he's saying is, hey, I left before we analyzed all the drone footage and intel. It's a shield. He's arguing he didn't have the full story, so he can't be held fully responsible. It's this new way for leaders to create a buffer between their decisions and the consequences. And this is where this whole accountability thing gets really, really heartbreaking. While leaders are debating deniability for these high-tech strikes, the horrific human cost of past mistakes just keeps piling up, and nobody is held responsible. Just last year in Afghanistan, 77% of all the people hurt or killed by landmines were children. You see, the world's attention has accelerated to the next new, shiny weapon. But the leftovers from the last war, they're still out there, they're still killing, and nobody is answering for it. So what's the big takeaway here? We've got this acceleration of technology, of tension, and of tactics that are all specifically designed to make things blurry. So I'll leave you with this. When every major incident is built from the ground up to be deniable, whether it's a drone attack or a strike on a shadow tanker, how are we supposed to find the truth? And if accountability just evaporates in this new technological fog, what's to stop the next inevitable escalation?